The pin tumbler lock assembly is the most common lock assembly. It's used on most padlocks, doorknobs, and deadbolt locks. What you have here is the housing or the cylinder. You have the plug. The plug encases the bottom springs, and I'm going to lift up here, and you can see those bottom springs. The cylinder encases the top springs and the top pins and the top springs. Each bottom pin is set to a different length, just like the key, so it marries up with the key. When you insert the key, it puts the break in the pins in alignment, and this is known as the shear line. This allows you to turn the plug, opening the lock. There are a few tools that you will need to pick a lock. The first one being a tension wrench. This is the most important tool used to apply tension to the plug cylinder and make it turn. In a lot of spy movies, you'll see guys not using these. They'll actually just stick a pick in and twist. That doesn't work. The next thing you'll need to look at is the picks. This is a hook or feeler pick, and this is for single pin picking, where you only lift up one pin at a time. A rake is a faster method, and you'll use something like this W rake, snake rake, or Bogota rake. And essentially this is a lot faster method of picking, and there's a few techniques you'll use for this. You can go in and out, you can do a seesaw motion, and you can do a brushing motion. I like to do a combination of all three when raking the lock. So what we need to do to pick this lock is you want to take your tension wrench and put in the bottom of the keyway. With a tension wrench, you'll want to put slight pressure with your finger in the direction the lock opens. You'll then want to insert your rake in the top of the keyway. And it should look something like that. So now we'll do the in and out, up and down, and combination motion like I said before, while applying pressure on that tension wrench, and the lock will open. You may not always have lock picking tools on you. You may have been captured, and you may have to improvise those tools. You can improvise lock picks easily from paper clips. And you're going to make 3 different tools in this set. We're going to show you how to make a tension wrench, we're going to show you how to make a rake, and a feeler pick. You may not always have lock picks on you, so I'm going to show you how to improvise some using standard paper clips. These are the large type. What you're going to do is you're just going to bend the paper clip straight out. You can take a multi-tool, or you can stick it in the edge of a crack in the wall if you don't have a multi-tool. Then you'll just put a slight bend going up like that right there. And this is your feeler pick or hook pick. Again, you'll bend straight out. And now we're going to make the rake. And what you're going to do is you're going to bend down. Then right behind that, right at the bend, you're going to bend up. Then right there at that bend, you're going to bend back down. Then you're going to need to bend it straight back up. And so now you have something that mimics the W rake. Now we need to make our tension wrench. and you're going to bend these picks straight out, both ends. So it should look like this right here. Then we're going to clamp down the front here. Then once you have that, you're going to go back just shy of a ½ inch and put that bend in there. Then you can twist the wire back onto itself. The good thing about a tension wrench made out of paper clips is that you will not over tension the lock. So now you have a tension wrench. So you're going to use these picks just like you would standard lock picks. Just that easy. Just use it as standard lock picks. You know, they may bend a little bit. They may only be able to be used one time, but that may be all you need. Let's talk about a few common mistakes made when lock picking. A lot of times people will over tension the lock. They'll put a lot of pressure, and by doing this you're binding the pins. Your pick may not even go in, and it will not let the pins go up and down freely, and that's what you want. You want to put just slight pressure on it, you know. And something I teach my students a lot of time is to make the tension wrench out of a paper clip. That way it gives you that springing effect, so you won't over tension the lock, and you'll see just how little tension you truly need for that lock. If you're picking a lock and it takes over a minute or a minute and a half, go ahead and stop, let your pins readjust, and start over again. Anything beyond that, you're pretty much just binding pins up and it's not going to open for you. So just go ahead and take your tension wrench out, let the lock reset, and then try again. Also, if you don't know what direction the plug cylinder is going to turn, you can stick your tension wrench in there and kind of just rake. And if nothing happens, there's no release, that means you're trying to go the wrong way. So you can flip it around the other way and start trying to pick, and you'll notice a release sound whenever you let go. And that means you're going the right way. Something else I see a lot is people will just go in really fast and not really try any technique. Putting a good combination, and a lot of this is feeling, you'll get the feeling over time of using the in and out, up, down, and the brushing effect. Some will work better in some locks versus other. Some things with new locks, you may want to spray with some graphite powder to kind of loosen up those pins. Old locks tend to be easier to pick because they've been worn out, and the machining is kind of worn on it, so the pins will move freely. So like I said, you want to put some graphite on new locks if you're trying to attempt to do that. A lot of times when people start out, or whenever I teach people, I'll have them do single pin picking using the hook pick. This is whenever you pick one pin at a time, and it just gives you the feeling of how the pins actually lock up whenever you're applying that tension. Now that was pretty fast, but I've had a lot of experience doing it. Raking, however, is much faster. And so pretty much the S snake rake, Bogota, or the W rake work pretty much the same, and it's the most effective. Really everything else in the lock pick set I really don't use. They're more so made, these other picks are more so made for professional locksmith. And for your application, you probably won't use these other picks, but just the few rakes that I've mentioned. When using a feeler or hook pick, you can really start in the front going back or in the back going front. I tend to go front to back just because it'll give me that positive note whenever I hit that back pin. I know that I went too far once my pick has hit the back. So that way I'm knowing I went the whole way, and most likely I will already have picked the lock. Or it'll let me know if I hit the back that I binded the pins and I need to start over again. or go back through the whole set to ensure that I hadn't missed one along the way. I'm going to show you what the pins look like. This first pin I'm hitting with this feeler pick, and you can see that pin is, I've binded that pin. I'm putting too much tension on the wrench here, and I've bonded that pin, so I'm going to let it back down. And so just like that key we showed earlier, we're going to try to make all these pins hit the shear line. So now I've got all those pins hitting the shear line, and you'll notice the tension wrench will give just enough to let you know, to give you that positive feedback that you've picked the lock. So it'll just give a slight give, and then just continue pressing the cylinder around, and the lock should open.